I always just start by asking, what's your name, where have you come from, and what is it that you've brought with you?
Okay, my name is Maria Salamanques. I am export manager at a family business called Avelino Vegas, and we work in 2 different appellations in the north of Spain that I hope everybody knows, Rueda and Ribera del Duero.
Okay. What can you, well, obviously we've got some products with us here, but before we do that, what can you tell us about those 2 appellations? For people who maybe don't know as much, what are the typical, what gives them away? What's the obvious sort of...
Okay, we started in the Rueda appellation. There, the most important thing is that we have a native variety called Verdejo, unique in the world. The appellation as control establishment started in 1982, but actually we were producing Verdejo since the Roman times in this area in Spain, that we know. So probably the grape came before with the Phoenician. But as far as we know, the Romans were already elaborating wines with Verdejo. The first Verdejos had a different style, and the current Verdejos that we elaborate are very fresh wines, very fruity, easy to drink, with complexity, but wines that match very well with salads, with seafood or fishes.
Okay. And then, so if we were to look at, so it's 3 Verdejos?
Yes.
What sets each of them apart? Because I remember whenever we tried them downstairs, you talked about different climates.
Here we have today 2 Verdejos. One is Fuentespina Verdejo. The most special thing that we have is that in comparison with other wineries from the appellation Rueda, we are not in the province of Valladolid. We are in the province of Segovia. Segovia, if you know a little bit, I know that we are not in a touristic area, but Segovia is the province that is over Madrid. Castilla and Madrid are separated by mountains, so as we are in the south of the denomination of origin, we are higher in altitude. And Fuentespina Verdejo is the wine coming from the highest vineyard in the appellation Rueda. Why is this important? Because nowadays, with the climate change, we have really very dry and very hot summers. This summer we had, during close to 20 days, a heat wave.
So 20 days?
20 days long, that the temperatures during the night haven't decreased from 20 degrees. What is not normal for us, because we usually have extreme continental climate, very hot summers, very cold winters, but big differences of temperature during the night and the day that are very good. This is very good for the grape, because the grape stops the maturation during the night. If this doesn't happen, we are not having the ripening process that we used to have in the area. That's why it's important to have vineyards as higher as possible in order to keep this freshness, the nice acidity, and the cold temperatures, due to the cold temperatures during the night. And Fuentespina Verdejo is coming from the highest vineyard of the denomination of origin, and it is 900 meters high. The second Verdejo, Circe, is also coming from a vineyard 850 meters high, on the same village, but a little bit lower. And the most important thing is that, as mentioned, we are in the province of Segovia. In this area, we have sandy soils. These very, very sandy soils, different from Valladolid area. In these soils, the phylloxera, this spider who attacked all the vineyard at the end of the 19th century, couldn't walk. So we are one of the few areas in Europe that have pre-phylloxera vineyards. And we had these small plots. We decided to make something special with them, and we did the Circe Verdejo. So a unique wine coming from unique vineyard, and also the elaboration is a little bit different. We cut it the fermentation. You know that the Verdejo has high acidity. We cut it the fermentation in order to keep a little bit more natural residual sugar. So we balance the wine very well. We also leave the wines over the fine lees at least 3 months. This brings in the wines more volume, more creaminess. You get the sense of that. Because I was going to ask next. You've mentioned a little bit about some of the flavors, but I've never had the opportunity to try the same grape
3 times from different places, and you really do get a sense of what impact that the different areas have, especially in terms of the higher you go, it gets more acidic, and then when you do stop the fermentation,
you get different feeling in the mouth.
Yeah, less sugar's been eaten up, and it's very, very interesting. So it was a really valuable thing for me, because it's stuff that I know but haven't tried before. So that was very, very interesting.
Next year I'm going to come with a different verdejo, different elaboration, because verdejo is a very nice variety, and we realized that we can keep in wood.
Ooh, okay.
So we are going to have a new wine at the end of this year. But I will come again next year to show it.
So will that be? So is that a completely new concept? That's really, really cool. So
a new wine.
I think that's one thing that people maybe don't know so much, is that everybody sees wine as a very old and traditional type thing, but the innovation is something that's not talked about enough. So it'll be really interesting to see that. We're not going into too much detail now, because we can leave that for future. So, but I think that's really, really cool. The fact that the innovation is still very present, especially in a country. So Spain is still that old world. So I think people associate it with the older styles and things. So
maybe you think that we are keeping the way of doing the wines that we were doing in the past, but nowadays, no. We have one of the most technological wineries in Rueda. We started in 1950, but we did our latest winery in Rueda was done in 2007. So we use cold maceration, control temperature area. So
that's actually really interesting, because a couple of weeks ago we talked to somebody who was dealing with Almansa and Rioja, and she was very much of she was talking about how the regulations don't limit things, but they keep them very, very strict.
They do.
How do you find working with innovation among a tradition that can be quite strict?
Well, we use the innovation to give quality to the wine. It's always, I think it's nice to be controlled, but an appellation, in order to be able to have a quality level that consumers can understand. Obviously, if you don't like to be or to follow, or you would like to do a different wine, you can always be free to declassify the wine or to.
So you can step away from the regulations in a way.
I mean, every time that you do a wine, you have to be approved by the appellation. If you don't like to send it to that appellation, you send it to other, or you can sell it as table wine, or.
So it's not really as strict.
It's really strict if you want to. May I take the bottle? It's really strict if you want to have this sticker. This sticker is numerated, it's unique. There is only one bottle with this number.
Oh, okay.
If you don't want to classify the wine as Rueda, it's up to you. But for us, this is a stamp of quality, no?
Yeah.
So when you buy a bottle of Rueda or the reds that are coming from Ribera del Duero, it's a unique bottle. Is numbered.
So every time we go into detail.
In which sense they regulate? For example, we cannot produce more than 10,000 kilos per hectare.
Right.
We have to work with these varieties. We have to follow these quality levels. This sugar content is. Yeah.
So everything outside that you can experiment with.
Yeah, but we are investing in quality. When we do the technology, what we are doing is investing in quality. When we are investing in cold maceration machines, we are trying to avoid oxidations. So it's just to invest in quality.
That's why the experimentation comes in. Okay, that's really interesting. You mentioned there briefly the reds. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
1993, we went to Ribera del Duero, and we went to a village called Fuentespina. Do you like to know why we are called Fuentespina? Yeah. Fuentespina is the name of this village in Ribera del Duero. Well, Duero is the river. It's born in Spain and called Douro in Portugal, but actually it's longer in Spain. Ribera del Duero means the Duero banks. Yeah. It's an appellation that is in the provinces of Valladolid, Burgos, and a little bit of Soria. Fuentespina is in the province of Burgos. And all of these provinces are in a big region called Castilla y León. Yeah. Castilla y León is the North Plateau in Spain, and the distances are big. So traditionally, in the old times, every family used to have a small plot with vineyards for own consumption, a cow, a pig. but not everybody had a winery at home. So they used to deliver the grapes in a cooperative, the cooperative of the village. So the family Vegas decided to buy a cooperative in 1993, renovated completely, the tanks, temperature control, new barrels, etc. But we made a study of the wine growers that were delivering the grapes in the COP. So we realized that we had people with vineyards planted in 1910, 1970, 1940. So we wanted to work with those grapes. So nowadays we sign contracts with these wine growers to guarantee that we can have these grapes, because obviously we have our own vineyard, but it couldn't be more than 30 years old because
because of the age of it, But then are those still the same vines? Those are very old vines.
Exactly.
That's really, really
exactly.
Because the only old vine wines that I've experienced so far have really been from, well, there's been one Spanish one, but mostly Australia. So it's interesting to get some from Europe now as well. And like you really get the sense of how, someone described to me, it's like as the vines get older, they get wiser. It's almost like they learn to produce better grapes because they're guided and
it's more concentration, less volume, more concentration.
And you really get the sense of that, especially. So what were the different ages that we worked with here?
Well, today we are tasting Fuentespina 7, that average, the plots are 40 years old.
Yeah.
And in Fuentespina Reserva, the average is 70 years old.
Wow. Yeah. And you do get the sense of that and how the different flavors are balanced as age goes on. You have the major elements all laid out, and they move almost as the wine gets older. I find that really fascinating.
Sometimes I do a tasting with all the Fuentespina wines, and all of them are Tempranillo, and maybe the consumer can think, all Tempranillo is boring. And then after the tasting, they realize that there are so many different styles from the same winery with the same grape. Only what changed? The most important thing, the vineyard and the time in oak, how we age the wines. Ribera del Duero is a denomination of origin, or the Tempranillo from Ribera del Duero. Is very well known because it has a lot of potential, so can age long, and it's very good for the aging in oak.
And what kind of oak aging do we have?
Here we are using the two that we have. In Fuentespina 7, that it is a younger wine with more red fruits. We were looking for a wine more easy to drink. We are using American oak, 7 months in American oak, and in Fuentespina Reserva we are using new French oak. I wanted to emphasize that Tempranillo is the most cultivated red variety in Spain. Everybody knows Tempranillo. In Ribera is also called Tinto Fino, Tinta del País, but are different names for the same variety. In case you read that in some labels they say Tinto Fino is the same variety. But due to our climate and our soil, is different to Tempranillos from Rioja or Tempranillos from La Mancha or wherever. This is the most important thing in the wines, no? The terroir, the soil, the vineyard, the variety, and the climate that we have. It is also the same climate as in Rueda. Both wineries are separated 100 kilometers, but the field is a little bit different. The soils are not so sandy, are more limestone. And here we have small slopes, so that the vineyards are not so in a plateau as in Rueda.
I've not heard about topography, like the slopes and things affecting wine production. How does that factor in? What does that do?
Well, we have here is really, really flat, you say, no? Plain?
But
But in Ribera del Duero, you have small slopes. We have small differences in altitude. And also in Valladolid, the vineyards are more sandy and limestone. Burgos, limestone and loam.
Like clay?
Exactly. And in Soria, that is higher altitude and extreme climate, much more clay.
So it factors into climate, I suppose.
Well, you have seen Ribera del Duero is big in the both banks of the river. So we are like 20,000 hectares, 300 wineries.
We're learning all kinds today. Today's been really, really valuable for me, especially because you don't often get someone bringing 3 variations of the same grape, red and then white. I find it's been really, really fascinating to go, because obviously the more I do and the more work I've done, the more I'll learn. Obviously that a Tempranillo can be completely different depending on 100 different things, and Tempranillo is one of my favorite grapes because of that. But to actually be given the opportunity to see how those things can affect it one by one, it has been really, really valuable. If you were just to kind of finish off today, if you were to try and convince somebody to buy these over something else, what would you?
Well, first of all is to taste the wines. If you have opportunity, if you have to buy them without tasting, I will say that in terms of Rueda, we have a unique verdejo from Prephyloxeric time, but at the same time very easy to drink, and with a packaging that you will love.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And in terms of Ribera del Duero, that you will have a very good value, and very nice for be together with your meal.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It's really, really valuable today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks. I thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Brilliant.
Okay.